Okay, so in the last video, we actually wrote functions to upload post to our Firestore database so that they can be linked with a user. So what we would do now in order to test all these three functions that we have written, let's just create a custom image picker. And for this purpose, we are going to use UI view controller representable. So that is one of the let me just quickly create the file. So custom image picker. So that is one of the older methods in order to how you can use an image picker inside SwiftUI. I think recently, not very recently, but like last year or maybe before that, they released this new API which you could use to do the same thing. But I believe if we use UI view controller representable, so we would have a better grasp of how UIKit also works, because like in your day-to-day task, or even if you're working somewhere, you would actually need to work with UIKit as well. So for that purpose, we are actually going to use UI view representable. So let's just import UIKit as well. We can remove foundation, and there it is. We create a structure which would be image picker, which would conform to the type UI view controller representable. So what happens is that as soon as I conform to this type, Swift compiler gives me an error, and it auto adds the functions required, or the, let me just quickly, okay, cannot find type in scope. I don't think so we even need this. What we could do is we can have make, so this is one of the functions that we need. And if we are still not conforming, I think we would need update UI view controller function as well. So yeah, these are the two functions that are required by any structure which is conforming to this protocol basically. So first of all, let's add a binding property. So a binding property is for the image that is going to be selected. And if you remember, we have already added an image property, published property inside our view model. So that is what we are going to use. And here we need to add an environment value. So basically this would be for the presentation mode of the image picker. So like, is it presented or is it not presented? We have to dismiss it as well. So that is what we are doing here. And we are going to be using this exact same line at a lot of places actually, because we need to dismiss some views on their own. So that is there. So yeah, we just made two functions, and other than that, what else do you need? So basically, we can work with coordinators. So we create a class coordinator inside our function only, and coordinator, let's conform it to ns object. Now we have UI navigation controller delegate here, and it should have UI image picker controller delegate. So there are two things here. We create a parent, and it would be of the type image picker. We can create an initializer here basically, and no need to pass it as an argument, so we can have an underscore. So this is there. Is it still giving me some error? Make coordinator, it needs that make coordinator function, and inside the make coordinator we would actually have our coordinator class, and we'll pass in self because we are inside the struct itself. So there we go, and let's add it here. How about if we move this class from here? Will it possibly work or have some issues? So let me just quickly think about how we can. I think this would work fine. So you can keep the class outside of the structure. There's no need to keep it inside. So I've created an initializer, and then let's just write the function for did finish picking media with info. So there is this function which is defined by the Swift library itself, and here we would check if the image we have, if let image equals info dot edited image. Even if it's an edited image, if it's of the type UI image, we are good to go. And what we do is that we use our parent, we change the selected image to image. And one more thing that we need to do is that we would check this for our original image as well. So this is there, and once we do all this, we can just dismiss out from the coordinator. So parent dot presentation mode dot wrap value dot dismiss. So yeah, this is the okay. It says it's inaccessible due to private protection level. One thing we can do is that we can remove private from here, or either we move the coordinator, the whole coordinator inside the structure itself, because this tends to the needs of our structure only. Because later on in the course, even if we want to add the coordinator navigation pattern into our app, we would anyways have to create a new coordinator class. So that would not like work around with this coordinator, because it's specifically for just image picker. So this is one function, and this function is to use the image picker and get an image. But what if the user cancels? So I think did cancel is also a function defined in the Swift library itself, and again we do presentation mode dot wrapped value dot dismiss. So this is there. So basically, if we cancel the image picker, the modal view that will show up because of the image picker will dismiss itself. And then we have these two functions that we need to write here. So basically for update, we don't really need to do it because there's no back and forth going on between the struct and the UIKit class. And inside the make UI view controller, let's just define a picker. So this picker would be of the type UI image picker controller. Let's initialize the class. We would have a picker dot delegate, which would be context dot coordinator. And since we have a coordinator class here, let's just option click on context to know like what is it. Okay, so context is a class, custom class inside the Swift library, and if we open it up, it doesn't give us much information as to what all it does, but like it is a type alias basically for UI view controller representable context. So that is there. How about we I don't think so we need to return some UI view controller, but instead we'll return UI image picker controller, and we can be specific with our return type. And in the picker we do allow editing to true, and then we can return our picker. So basically this is there, and this is a very small structure itself. Like it just have a image property which is of the type binding. So basically it keeps it retains the state of that image which we have selected, and then we have the presentation mode to dismiss itself, these were the required functions that I needed to add, and thus I've added them. And yes, we are referencing our coordinator through inside this make UI view controller function. So how about like this is all stuff that you usually see on all those videos, like they guide you through working with image picker in SwiftUI. So this is that same functionality. How about we test this thing now? So finally we can go to our user profile view. How about I run the app in the background while I work here? So what I was thinking is that we might be having a new post. Yeah, so we have this new post button. So I was thinking, how about we add an iflet here? Iflet selected image is equal to view model dot selected image. So if selected image has some value, because I think we have defined it as an optional, so it is initialized with a nil value. So this is there. So if let selected image equals view model dot selected image, what we can do is that we can display that image onto our screen, and you can do that by using, okay, so our app is building fine, that I can see. So how about we, I mean, it just ran, so it's fine. I think it would build only. Let's just close it for now. We have a UI image initializer for the image class in Swift UI. So now we can pass in our selected image. We can give it some properties like resizable, yes. Then we can have scale to fit, and then we could give it a frame, which would be 200 by 200. And for the alignment, we can just remove it. So this is there, but like which button will control the value of view model dot selected image? For that, we would use this curvy rectangle actually. So what we can do is that we can have button created here, and this button would have an action and a label. So the label goes here, and inside the label we can add this. I think we can remove the space from here, and inside the button I think we can have view model dot is image picker presented to be true. And deep down in our view, or not even deep down, what we can do here is that we can attach one sheet here basically, and this sheet would have is presented and content value. So is presented will be controlled by view model dot is presented, and for the content, what we can do is that we can call our custom struct that we created image picker. Selected image will again be binding, so we can use our published property dot selected image. This is there. So hopefully this should work out now. So let's just see. And I have my Firebase opened here. So what will happen is that the moment I click on new post, and the moment I click on new post, um, yeah, it would show up with the image picker, and it would ask me to select an image, but we are still not calling those functions to upload the image to the Firestore database. So for that purpose, what we can do now is that on the second button, temporarily we can, for home feed, just for testing purposes, we can add a button that would be like this. We have label, we open it like this, we cut this out, paste it here. Inside button, we would actually have to go once inside our main view model and see what function name was it. So it was add post to user was there, but I think it's being called from inside of, yeah. So this is the main function basically, upload image and create post. And this has to be called from, you know, from our view actually, because what it does is that it internally calls upload image to storage as well, and then it calls add post to user as well. So it is calling both these functions from inside of it. So we can mark this as private as well. And what we can do is that since it is an asynchronous function, we go back to our view, we create a task wrapper, and then inside we write await, and then we can have view model dot upload image and create post, and it is just asking us for a user id. So what we can do is that we can use view model dot database user dot user id. So database user is that published value which we are populating inside our sign up sign in call, if you could see. So this is there, let db is equal to this and that. So yeah, again, this is just a variable. That means that if the app is launched and then it is exited, what I mean to say is that it does not retain the value, right? So this is not actually the most optimum way to work around with it. But what we can do here is that I think we can use this property. I just wanted to go inside the core of the app and check this once. So basically we have is authenticated value, is authenticated is a boolean, okay. And okay, so we have the auth class from Firebase. So I was thinking, how about we use this? And what we can do here is that inside our, we can have auth dot current user dot, okay, it's not coming up because we have to import Firebase. I hope so it works now. And we can have user current user dot id. Does it have an id or something? I don't think so it has an id. Let's command click here and see what all it has. So user types, user info, user info has a uid. So coming back here, we need to pass in uid. It says cannot find auth in scope, okay. So let's just go to our main view model and see what all imports do we have. I think we need Firebase auth as well. So let's going back to our user profile view. What we can do is write auth here, and hopefully, okay, we can pass in the current user as an optional value, and then it gives us this. So we can pass here nil or an empty string, either works. So yeah, this is there. So hopefully when we use this button now, um, I think it should work fine, but let's just check for ourselves now. Going back to the app, and I have the Firebase on my side to check. Hopefully the auth class fetches the current user, and oh, okay. Just for a second, I noticed that our view model dot fetch user data also populates our database user. So our database user is not just being set inside the sign up function, but also the fetch user data function. So okay, we can simplify it further now. So we don't really need to use the auth class here. We can remove these imports. What we can do is come back here, where is our error, and here what we can do is we can use view model dot database user id, and it's an optional string, so we can give it this. But most possibly, I mean, not even most possibly, it's certain that it would have a value. So we need not to worry about that, but in any case we should not force unwrap. So let's just run this again, and yep, this should work out. Now we just need to check this thing, and okay. So from what I remember from new post, we can launch a custom image picker. For the custom image picker, if you remember, we added these images, but we need not to work around with them. You can select this image. It is giving us the editing option. We don't need to edit anything out. We click choose, and then we see the image as per our code that if there is an image, you show it with a frame and of 200 by 200. So this is there and it's scaled to fit. Now we click on home feed. So hopefully, let's do command K here to clear the console log. Click on home feed. It should just work most probably. So we will see. It says the operation couldn't be completed. Attestation provided is not supported. Was already running. Let's just check that the function that we have written, do we have the create post, do we have a success printout? Okay, so we don't even have a success printout, but we did not get an error in uploading image or making post. So how about I refresh this now and check if something got uploaded to Firebase. So let's just waiting. This is like the final reveal, and hopefully this is loading, so something's there. Okay, so inside our user document now we have a sub collection which is post. If we go inside post, it has a document, and this document has all those values that we had added. If you could see, we hard coded these values here, 4.54, and then best cafe here and all. So these are coming to our image. We just had a sample image being used. How about we copy this URL and see what it does? So if I enter this URL, I'm shown this image, and this is the image that we had selected, as you can see. So our functionality is working fine. And since it's working fine now, what we can do is that we can move forward with creating a specific view for creating and uploading post, and that would happen on navigation click event for our, okay, my app seems to be stuck, and that is weird. So I will look into that, why is that happening. And yeah, so what we can do is that we can look into this issue of our app getting stuck, and other than that, our functionality is perfectly working fine, so that is good for us. Okay, so I hope to see in the next video where we would continue with making the create post view and allowing users to have multiple options to select images and everything, and also the captions and all. And then we can have some improvements and all. So yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.